In a hushed courtroom, where justice and tension hung thick in the air, an unexpected moment unfolded that would leave everyone breathless. The gavel had just struck, signaling the beginning of a pivotal trial, and all eyes were glued to the judge, a seasoned figure known for his stern demeanor and unwavering authority. But as the proceedings commenced, a young boy, no older than 12, sat quietly in the front row, clutching something tightly in his small hands. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, yet nobody could have predicted the shock that was about to unfold. As the judge began to address the charges against the defendant, a palpable stillness enveloped the room. The air was heavy with the weight of the accusations, and the tension was almost unbearable. Suddenly, in a moment that felt like an eternity, the boy's hand shot up, and he pulled out a camera from his pocket. The click of the shutter echoed like a gunshot, breaking the silence and sending ripples of disbelief through the crowd. Gasps filled the room as the judge's face drained of color, his authoritative composure shattered in an instant. What could compel a child to disrupt such a solemn occasion with a camera? The boy's actions were not merely a reckless act of defiance. They were a profound statement, a plea for attention in a world that often overlooks the innocent. He had witnessed something that day, something that transcended the courtroom drama unfolding before him. The camera wasn't just a device, it was his voice, a means to capture the truth that many were too afraid to confront. As the judge struggled to regain his composure, the spectators were left to ponder the significance of this unexpected intrusion. In a society where the powerful often silence the vulnerable, the boy's boldness became a catalyst for reflection. As the courtroom buzzed with whispers, the implications of the boy's act began to unfold. The judge, now visibly shaken, had to navigate the delicate balance between maintaining order and acknowledging the gravity of the moment. The boy's photograph could potentially expose a hidden narrative, one that challenged the very foundations of the case at hand. In that instant, the courtroom transformed from a mere venue for legal proceedings into a battleground for truth and justice. The boy's courage resonated not just within those walls, but echoed far beyond, igniting conversations about the roles of power, innocence, and the importance of bearing witness. This unexpected twist not only altered the course of the trial, but also sparked a movement inspiring others to find their voices in the face of adversity. The boy, with his simple act, reminded everyone present that sometimes the most profound truths come from the most unexpected sources. As the judge looked out over the crowd, he realized that the impact of this moment would extend far beyond the courtroom, challenging the very essence of how justice is perceived and delivered. What began as a routine trial had transformed into a powerful narrative of courage, urging society to listen to the whispers of the unheard and to recognize the profound impact of a single act of defiance. The atmosphere in the courtroom was thick with tension as the judge presided over a case that had captured the attention of the entire community. The gallery was filled with curious onlookers, eager to witness the proceedings of a trial that had stirred emotions and divided opinions. The defendant, a young man accused of a series of petty crimes, sat quietly at the defense table, his expression a mix of anxiety and defiance. His family, seated behind him, exchanged worried glances, hoping for a glimmer of hope in a situation that seemed increasingly dire. As the judge, a seasoned figure known for his stern demeanor and unwavering commitment to justice, prepared to deliver his ruling, the room fell silent. His gavel echoed, a signal that commanded respect. The air was heavy with anticipation, and the faint rustle of papers could be heard as the prosecution and defense awaited his words. The judge glanced over at the young man, contemplating the ramifications of his decision. Just then, a sudden movement caught his eye, and he turned to see a boy no older than 12 standing up in the back of the courtroom. The boy, with tousled hair and wide eyes, seemed out of place amidst the serious proceedings. He clutched a small camera tightly in his hands, its lens glinting under the harsh fluorescent lights. The judge's heart raced as he recognized the potential chaos that could ensue. Cameras were strictly prohibited in the courtroom, a rule designed to maintain decorum and protect the integrity of the legal process. But the boy, oblivious to the unspoken rules, raised the camera with an innocent curiosity, aiming it toward the defendant. The judge's face drained of color as he imagined the consequences of this act, not only for the boy, but for the entire case at hand. In that moment, the courtroom transformed. The murmurs of the audience grew louder, a mix of gasps and laughter, as the boy snapped a picture. The flash illuminated the room momentarily, capturing the surprise etched on the judge's face and the bewilderment of the defendant. The judge's authority wavered, his mind racing with thoughts of what this could mean. Would the boy's innocent action be seen as a disruption, or could it perhaps serve as a poignant reminder of the humanity behind the legal proceedings? The judge's thoughts spiraled, weighing the significance of the moment against the rigid structure of the law he had sworn to uphold. As the boy lowered the camera, a sense of calm washed over the courtroom. The judge took a deep breath, realizing that sometimes amidst the seriousness of justice, there was room for a reminder of life's simpler moments. The tension began to dissipate, replaced by a collective understanding that even in the most serious of settings, innocence could shine through. The judge straightened his robes, steeling himself for the decision he had to make. He glanced again at the boy, who stood wide-eyed and hopeful, and felt a flicker of inspiration. Perhaps this unexpected turn of events could lead to a more compassionate approach to justice, one that acknowledged the complexities of youth and the power of a single moment captured in time. As we journey together toward a brighter future, your voice matters more than ever. Join our vibrant community where your thoughts and ideas can spark change and inspire others. Subscribe to stay updated with fresh insights and share your perspectives in the comments. Your engagement fuels our mission. Together, we can create a dynamic space for growth, support, and innovation. Let's make an impact. The courtroom buzzed with a palpable tension, the kind that often accompanies high-stakes trials, where lives hang in the balance. The judge, a seasoned figure with years of experience etched into the lines of his face, presided over the proceedings with an air of authority. Today, however, he was confronted with an unexpected disruption. A young boy, no older than 12, stood up from the back of the room, his small frame dwarfed by the imposing furniture of the courtroom. With a calmness that belied his age, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a camera, the lens glinting under the harsh fluorescent lights. The judge's expression shifted, his face draining of color as he registered the implications of this seemingly innocent act. The significance of the boy's action reverberated through the room like a shockwave. In a setting where decorum was paramount, the sight of a child wielding a camera was not just an anomaly, it was a challenge to the very fabric of the judicial process. The courtroom was a place meant for solemnity, where the weight of justice hung heavy in the air. Yet here was a child, unburdened by the complexities of adult fears, ready to capture the moment. The judge's mind raced with questions. What was the boy thinking? Did he understand the gravity of the situation? The boy's innocent curiosity seemed to pierce through the tension, reminding everyone present of the human stories that often lay beneath the surface of legal battles. As murmurs rippled through the audience, the boy raised the camera, aiming it at the judge. It was a moment that transcended the usual boundaries of courtroom decorum, one that invited reflection on the nature of truth and perception. The judge's heart raced. He was acutely aware that this was not just a photograph being taken, but a potential turning point in the trial. The image captured could be interpreted in myriad ways, an act of defiance, a plea for understanding, or perhaps a testament to the innocence that often gets lost in the shuffle of legal jargon and procedural formalities. The boy's gaze was steady, his intent unclear, yet the implications of his action loomed large. In that instant, the courtroom transformed from a sterile environment into a stage where the complexities of justice, innocence, and the quest for truth collided. The judge felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. Would he allow this moment to pass unnoticed, or would he seize the opportunity to address the deeper issues at play? The boy with his camera had inadvertently become a catalyst for a conversation that extended beyond the case at hand. The judge realized that the courtroom was not merely a venue for legal proceedings, it was a living entity where stories interwove and where the stakes were not just legal but profoundly human. As the judge collected himself, he understood that this was a pivotal moment, not only for the trial but also for the boy and everyone present. The camera, a simple device, had the power to capture truth, provoke thought, and inspire change. In a world where narratives are often controlled by those in power, the boy's act of taking a photograph was a reminder that everyone has a voice, and sometimes it takes the unlikeliest of individuals to bring that voice to light. The judge took a deep breath, ready to navigate the complexities of the moment, knowing that the path forward would require not just legal acumen, but also a deep understanding of humanity. The courtroom was hushed, the air thick with tension, as the judge prepared to deliver a verdict that could alter the course of a young man's life. Just days earlier, a shocking incident had unfolded in the same city. A viral video surfaced showing a police officer using excessive force during an arrest. The footage had sparked protests, reigniting a national conversation about systemic injustice and the role of accountability in law enforcement. As the judge's gavel echoed, the stakes felt impossibly high. The public's eyes were glued to the courtroom, and social media was abuzz with speculation about the outcome. The courtroom, a place usually reserved for the solemnity of justice, now felt like a pressure cooker, ready to explode at any moment. In this charged atmosphere, the boy in the defendant's seat felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. He had been accused of a crime he insisted he didn't commit, but the evidence against him was circumstantial at best. The media had painted him as a villain, a narrative fueled by fear and misunderstanding. The judge, a seasoned figure who had seen countless cases, had always prioritized the law above all else. Yet the recent events had made him acutely aware of the shifting sands beneath his feet. He knew that the public's trust in the justice system was fragile. One misstep could lead to chaos. As he glanced at the jury, he could see the uncertainty reflected in their eyes, a reminder that they too were grappling with the weight of their decision. Then, in a moment that would forever alter the course of the trial, the boy reached into his pocket and pulled out a camera. The judge turned pale, his heart racing as he realized the implications of this unexpected move. The courtroom, a place of order and decorum, suddenly felt like a stage for a performance that could either vindicate or destroy. The boy had been documenting his life, capturing moments that told a different story, one of innocence, resilience, and the harsh realities of growing up in a world where every action was scrutinized. This camera was not just a device, it was a lifeline, a means to share his truth in a society that seemed determined to silence him. The urgency of this moment was palpable. The boy's camera had the potential to reveal a narrative that the court had not considered, one that could bridge the gap between perception and reality. It was a reminder that understanding the complexities of a situation often requires more than just the facts presented in a courtroom. The judge felt the weight of responsibility. He was not just deciding a case, but also influencing the broader conversation about justice and accountability. The camera could capture evidence that challenged the status quo, forcing everyone in the room to confront uncomfortable truths. As the boy prepared to share his footage, the judge knew that this was not merely a trial. It was a pivotal moment in a larger societal struggle for understanding and reform. The urgency to grasp the implications of that camera had never been clearer, and the outcome of this trial could very well reverberate far beyond the confines of the courtroom. In the hushed atmosphere of the courtroom, tension hung thick in the air. The judge, a figure of authority and poise, presided over the proceedings with an air of gravitas. His gavel, a symbol of justice, had struck down on numerous cases, each time reinforcing the sanctity of the law. However, on this particular day, an unexpected event was poised to disrupt the solemnity of the moment. As the case unfolded, a young boy, seemingly innocent and unaware of the weighty proceedings around him, reached into his pocket. The courtroom held its breath, and all eyes shifted toward him, anticipating what he might produce. When the boy pulled out a camera, the reaction was instantaneous. The judge's face, usually a mask of stern resolve, turned pale as he processed the implications of this seemingly innocuous act. Cameras in a courtroom are rarely welcomed. They symbolize the intrusion of the outside world into a space meant for deliberation and justice. The boy's action was not merely a child's curiosity, it was a bold statement that challenged the boundaries of decorum. The judge's discomfort spoke volumes about the unspoken rules that govern such sacred spaces. In that moment, the boy became a catalyst for change, a reminder that the courtroom, while a bastion of order, is also a stage for the unfolding drama of human experience. As murmurs rippled through the gallery, the boy's gaze remained fixed on the judge, who was grappling with an internal conflict. The courtroom was meant to be a place of dignity, yet here was a child wielding a camera, potentially capturing the very essence of justice in a way that could be both enlightening and disruptive. The judge, recognizing the gravity of the situation, understood that the boy's action transcended mere photography. It was an assertion of agency in a world where adults often dictate the narrative. This moment was not just about the boy and his camera. It was about the intersection of innocence and authority, a collision that could reshape perceptions of justice. The implications of the boy's actions extended beyond the immediate shock. In an age where visual documentation shapes public opinion, the courtroom's traditional barriers faced a formidable challenge. The judge's pale complexion reflected the dawning realization that the established norms of the legal system were being questioned. Would this boy's camera capture a moment of truth, or would it serve to distort the complexities of the case at hand? The stakes were high, and the judge knew that the outcome of this encounter could reverberate far beyond the confines of the courtroom. As the judge regained his composure, he contemplated the broader societal implications of this unexpected intrusion. The boy's camera represented a new wave of transparency, a demand for accountability in a system often cloaked in secrecy. The courtroom, traditionally a place where narratives are crafted and controlled, now faced the prospect of being laid bare for all to see. The judge's role evolved from a mere arbiter of the law to a guardian of the integrity of the judicial process, tasked with navigating the delicate balance between order and the evolving landscape of public engagement. In that pivotal moment, the courtroom transformed from a sterile environment into a vibrant arena of ideas and ideals. The boy's camera became a symbol of hope and disruption, challenging the status quo and inviting a dialogue about the nature of justice itself. As the judge prepared to address the situation, he understood that this encounter was not just about the laws that govern society, but about the very essence of humanity, the desire to be seen, heard, and understood in a world that often overlooks the voices of the young and the vulnerable. The courtroom buzzed with an air of tension as the judge prepared to deliver a verdict. It was a moment heavy with expectation, a culmination of weeks of testimonies and legal arguments. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The boy, no older than 12, reached into his pocket and pulled out a camera. Gasps echoed throughout the room, and the judge's complexion drained of color, a visible sign of his alarm. The implications of this unexpected act rippled through the courtroom, raising questions about authority, innocence, and the power of documentation. In that instant, the boy's action became a pivotal moment, illustrating the intersection of technology and justice. The camera symbolized a new form of agency, one that could challenge the established order. It was not merely a device for capturing images. It represented a shift in how narratives could be constructed and shared. The boy, perhaps unaware of the weight of his gesture, had unwittingly introduced a tool that could reshape the courtroom dynamics. What followed was a flurry of reactions, each measurable in its impact on the proceedings. The judge, taken aback, instinctively called for order, but the murmurs persisted. This moment highlighted the importance of adaptability in legal settings. Judges and attorneys must be prepared for the unexpected, recognizing that technology can disrupt traditional processes. For instance, courts have begun to adopt protocols for the use of electronic devices, ensuring that they can be integrated without compromising decorum. This could involve establishing clear guidelines for when and how devices like cameras can be used, allowing for transparency while maintaining control over the courtroom environment. As the boy held the camera aloft, he inadvertently became a symbol of accountability. His action prompted discussions about the role of media in legal proceedings. In practical terms, this could lead to the implementation of policies that allow for the recording of court sessions, fostering a culture of openness. Such measures could be paired with educational initiatives aimed at teaching young people about their rights and responsibilities when it comes to documenting events. By empowering youth with knowledge, they can engage more meaningfully in civic life. The judge's pale expression reflected a deeper concern about the implications of this new reality. The potential for misinterpretation and sensationalism loomed large. To address these challenges, legal systems could benefit from workshops focusing on media literacy for both legal professionals and the public. These sessions could cover topics such as the ethical considerations of recording in sensitive environments, the importance of context, and the potential consequences of sharing content online. In the aftermath of that moment, the courtroom dynamics shifted. The boy's camera became a catalyst for dialogue, inviting stakeholders to reconsider the balance between tradition and innovation. This could lead to the establishment of forums where legal professionals, technologists, and community members collaborate to create a framework for responsible media use in justice. Such initiatives would not only enhance the integrity of the judicial process, but also foster trust within the community. Ultimately, The boy's simple act of pulling out a camera in the courtroom encapsulated a broader narrative about the evolving nature of justice. It underscored the necessity for legal systems to embrace change while safeguarding the principles of fairness and respect. By taking actionable steps toward integrating technology thoughtfully, the courtroom can become a space where innovation and tradition coexist, paving the way for a more transparent and accountable judicial process. The courtroom buzzed with a tension that was palpable, the air thick with anticipation as the judge presided over the case. The atmosphere shifted dramatically when the boy, a mere teenager with a determined glint in his eye, pulled a camera from his pocket. The judge's face drained of color, a stark contrast to the stern demeanor he had maintained throughout the proceedings. This unexpected act was not merely a whim, it was a calculated move that would redefine the narrative unfolding before them. In a world increasingly dominated by visuals, the boy's choice to document the moment with a camera signaled a shift in power dynamics. Rather than being a passive participant in a legal drama, he was asserting his voice, challenging the traditional roles that had long dictated courtroom proceedings. As the camera clicked, the implications of this act reverberated throughout the room. Legal experts have noted that the rise of digital technology has transformed the way information is disseminated and perceived. The boy's action was emblematic of a broader cultural shift where the truth can be captured and shared instantaneously, often circumventing established authorities. This moment was not just about a boy and his camera. It represented a challenge to the status quo. The judge, now visibly unsettled, understood that the boy's visual narrative could potentially alter public perception, influencing the jury and the wider community. In an age where social media can amplify a single image to millions, the courtroom became a battleground for narrative control. The boy, in his simplicity, wielded a tool that could expose injustices or highlight truths that might otherwise remain hidden. The judge's reaction was a moment of reckoning, a reminder that the legal system is not impervious to the forces of modernity. In response, he could either clamp down on this emerging trend or adapt to it, recognizing that the courtroom must evolve alongside societal changes. Experts suggest that embracing transparency could lead to a more equitable judicial process where accountability is paramount. The judge, perhaps reluctantly, began to consider how he might navigate this new landscape. Could he, instead of viewing the boy as a disruptor, see him as a catalyst for change? By allowing the camera to remain, he could foster an environment where dialogue and understanding flourish, rather than one steeped in fear and repression. As the proceedings continued, the boy's camera became a symbol of hope and resistance. The judge, now acutely aware of the implications of his earlier reaction, chose to adapt rather than resist. He began to engage with the boy, asking questions that invited dialogue rather than confrontation. This shift not only humanized the process, but also opened the door for a deeper exploration of the case at hand. In embracing the unexpected, the courtroom transformed from a place of rigid authority into a space for shared understanding, where voices could be amplified rather than silenced. The boy, with his simple act of defiance, had not only challenged the judge, but also illuminated a path toward a more inclusive and transparent justice system. The atmosphere in the courtroom was tense, a palpable energy hanging in the air as the judge presided over the case. It was a day like any other, yet the unexpected presence of a camera would soon alter its course. As the boy, no older than 12, pulled the device from his pocket, a collective gasp echoed through the room. The judge's face drained of color, a stark contrast to the authority he typically commanded. Cameras in courtrooms can evoke strong reactions, and for good reason. In many jurisdictions, the presence of cameras can influence the behavior of those involved, from witnesses to jurors, creating an environment that may not reflect the true nature of the proceedings. Research indicates that the presence of cameras can lead to heightened anxiety and performance pressure among participants. A study published in the Journal of Communication found that individuals tend to alter their behavior when they know they are being recorded, often striving for a more dramatic or performative presence. Bryant and Myron, 2004. This phenomenon, known as the audience effect, suggests that the boy's simple act of taking out a camera could disrupt the decorum expected in a courtroom, potentially influencing the judge's decisions, the jury's perceptions, and the overall integrity of the trial. As the judge's complexion paled, he recalled the implications of such a breach of decorum. In many states, the use of recording devices in court is strictly regulated. For instance, California law mandates that all parties involved must consent to being recorded, a measure designed to protect the integrity of the judicial process. California Rules of Court, Rule 1. The boy's action, though innocent in intent, could be interpreted as a challenge to this authority, prompting concerns about the potential for chaos in the courtroom. The courtroom's decorum is not merely a matter of tradition, it serves a critical function in maintaining order and respect for the legal process. A study by the American Bar Association highlighted that disruptions, including unauthorized recordings, can lead to mistrials and appeals, ultimately undermining the justice system's credibility. American Bar Association 2018. The judge's reaction was not just a personal response, but a reflection of the broader implications such an incident could have on the case at hand. As the boy fumbled with the camera, the judge's mind raced. He understood that the courtroom was a place where emotions ran high and where the stakes were often life-altering. The potential for the boy's recording to go viral, shared on social media platforms within moments, loomed large. In an age where public opinion can sway the course of justice, the judge recognized that the boy's innocent curiosity could transform into a spectacle, one that could overshadow the legal proceedings and compromise the fairness of the trial. In that fleeting moment, the judge's thoughts turned to the broader societal implications of media in the courtroom. The intersection of technology and law has been a topic of considerable debate. Experts argue that while transparency in the judicial process is essential, it must be balanced with the need for a fair trial. The presence of cameras can serve as a double-edged sword, illuminating the proceedings while simultaneously casting shadows of doubt on their integrity. As the courtroom held its breath, the boy's camera became a symbol of the evolving relationship between justice and media, a reminder that even the most innocent actions can have profound consequences in a world increasingly dominated by the lens of public scrutiny. In the courtroom's tense atmosphere, the unexpected moment when the boy revealed a camera from his pocket shifted the dynamics dramatically. The judge's pale expression signified a profound realization that transcended the mere act of a child taking a photograph. It was an emblematic moment that encapsulated the underlying themes of innocence and the pursuit of truth amidst a backdrop of authority and judgment. The boy's innocent action became a catalyst for introspection, challenging the established norms of the courtroom and prompting all present to reconsider their roles in the unfolding drama. As the narrative progressed, it became evident that the camera was not just a tool for capturing images, but a symbol of the power of perspective. The boy's willingness to document the proceedings highlighted the inherent contradictions within the judicial system, where truth can often be obscured by the weight of authority. The judge's reaction indicated a fear of exposure, a recognition that the lens of the camera could reveal uncomfortable truths that might disrupt the carefully constructed facade of justice. This moment served as a reminder that the act of observation can alter perceptions and provoke deeper questions about morality, ethics, and the nature of truth itself. The courtroom, a space traditionally associated with order and control, was momentarily transformed into a stage for vulnerability. The boy's innocent curiosity contrasted sharply with the gravity of the proceedings, forcing the adults in the room to confront their own motivations and biases. This juxtaposition underscored the tension between the innocence of youth and the complexities of adult responsibilities. The boy's presence, armed with a camera, symbolized an unfiltered lens through which the audience could reflect on their own interpretations of justice and fairness. As the story neared its climax, the implications of the boy's actions became increasingly significant. The courtroom, once a bastion of authority, was now a space where the boundaries of power were questioned. The anticipation built as the audience awaited the judge's response, aware that the outcome would not only affect the boy, but also resonate with the broader themes of accountability and transparency. The weight of the moment hung in the air, suggesting that the resolution would not simply be a verdict, but a profound commentary on the nature of truth and the responsibility that comes with bearing witness. In this pivotal moment, the narrative encapsulated the essence of human experience, our constant struggle to navigate the complexities of morality and justice. The boy, through his simple act of taking a photograph, had inadvertently challenged the status quo, urging everyone to reconsider their perceptions and the implications of their actions. As the courtroom held its breath, the audience prepared for the final resolution, knowing that whatever the outcome, it would reverberate beyond the walls of the courtroom and into the hearts and minds of all who witnessed it. The convergence of innocence and authority set the stage for a resolution that promised to be as thought-provoking as it was impactful, leaving a lasting impression on the pursuit of truth in a world often clouded by ambiguity. As the courtroom fell silent, the tension was palpable. The judge's expression shifted dramatically, a blend of shock and disbelief, as the boy nonchalantly pulled a camera from his pocket. This unexpected act not only disrupted the proceedings, but also raised critical questions about the boundaries of authority and the role of technology in modern society. The boy's seemingly innocent gesture served as a catalyst for a deeper discussion on the implications of surveillance, privacy, and the power dynamics within the judicial system. The courtroom, a place typically governed by decorum and respect, suddenly became a stage for a confrontation between tradition and the evolving landscape of communication. To address this incident effectively, it is essential to first engage all stakeholders involved. This includes the judiciary, legal representatives, and the community at large. By organizing a series of roundtable discussions, we can facilitate a constructive dialogue about the intersection of technology and legal proceedings. These discussions should focus on understanding the motivations behind the boy's actions, exploring the societal implications of recording in public spaces, and examining the legal frameworks that govern such behavior. The goal is to foster a culture of understanding, where the concerns of both the judiciary and the public are acknowledged and addressed, leading to a more informed community. In tandem with these discussions, it is crucial to develop clear guidelines regarding the use of cameras and other recording devices within courtrooms. These guidelines should be crafted collaboratively, ensuring that they reflect the values of transparency and accountability, while also respecting the sanctity of the judicial process. By implementing these policies, we can create a framework that allows for the responsible use of technology, balancing the need for public oversight with the necessity of maintaining order in legal proceedings. This approach not only protects the integrity of the courtroom, but also empowers citizens to engage with the judicial system in a constructive manner. As we move forward, we must also consider educational initiatives aimed at informing the public about their rights and responsibilities when it comes to recording in public spaces, particularly within judicial settings. Workshops, seminars, and informational campaigns can serve as valuable tools for disseminating knowledge and fostering a greater understanding of the legal landscape surrounding these issues. By equipping individuals with the necessary information, we can cultivate a society that respects both personal freedoms and the rule of law, ultimately leading to more harmonious interactions between citizens and the judicial system. In conclusion, the incident in the courtroom serves as a poignant reminder of the need for adaptability in the face of technological advancements. By engaging in open dialogue, establishing clear guidelines, and implementing educational initiatives, we can create a more informed and respectful society. It is imperative that we take these actionable steps to ensure that the courtroom remains a place of justice and integrity, while also embracing the opportunities that technology presents. Let us commit to fostering a culture of respect, understanding, and collaboration, paving the way for a future where technology and the law coexist harmoniously. In the courtroom, a moment of tension hung in the air as the judge's complexion shifted, revealing a blend of disbelief and apprehension. The boy, seemingly innocent, pulled out a camera, an act that shattered the solemnity of the proceedings. This unexpected twist serves as a powerful metaphor for the intersection of innocence and the often harsh realities of the judicial system. The courtroom, a space typically reserved for the pursuit of justice, suddenly became a stage for vulnerability and revelation. The boy's action, innocent yet profound, raises questions about the nature of truth perception and the role of the observer. In this moment, the camera transforms from a mere object into a symbol of accountability, capturing not just images, but the essence of the human experience within a structured environment. It reflects the idea that while the law may seek to impose order, the rawness of human emotion can disrupt even the most rigid of frameworks. As the narrative unfolds, the implications of this singular event extend beyond the immediate shock. It invites us to consider who holds the power to document and narrate our stories. In a world where perspectives often clash, the boy's camera becomes a conduit for voices that might otherwise remain unheard. The judge's pale reaction signifies a confrontation with the uncomfortable truth that the judicial process is not infallible. It is, after all, a human endeavor fraught with biases and limitations. This pivotal moment encapsulates the essence of the struggle for transparency and integrity in a system that can sometimes obscure the very truths it seeks to uphold. The boy's simple act of capturing reality serves as a reminder that every individual has the potential to challenge authority, to question the status quo, and to illuminate the shadows that linger in the corners of our societal structures. Ultimately, the scene resonates with the profound understanding that each of us possesses the capacity to influence change, even in the most unlikely of situations. The boy, with his camera, embodies the spirit of inquiry and the courage to confront uncomfortable truths. In a world where narratives are often controlled and manipulated, his act of documentation becomes a beacon of hope. It encourages us to embrace our roles as observers and participants in the unfolding drama of life, reminding us that our perspectives matter. As we reflect on this moment, we are inspired to recognize the power of our voices and the importance of capturing our realities. In doing so, we contribute to a collective narrative that celebrates authenticity, challenges injustice, and ultimately paves the way for a more compassionate and